acquire the knowledge and tools to boost your website conversion rate, resulting in more leads and sales. And to become this session, I would like to introduce to you our moderator, Ms. Trang Nguyen, Country Head of Publisher Development from MGID Vietnam.
Thank you. So thrilled to start our first panel discussion. So maybe organizer can arrange some more seat for us, our esteemed guests at the back. Please join us, come closer if you can. Well, my name is Chang. I am the country head at MGID, a global advertising platform. Now, before we welcome our panelists onto the stage, I would like to give you a bit of context about our topics today. I would like to talk about the attention economy. Well, basically, with the internet, you can easily search for any information you want, like which product to buy, which place to go, what is the best restaurant in town, or who is this charming moderator, for example. Then basically, all these information are like just literally seconds away. So it means that scarcity is not the information, right? As a consumer, we are even overwhelmed with lots of information, with thousands of marketing messages we receive every day. And the job of a marketer is how to catch and retain the attention of the consumer and turn more visitor into our consumer. And that's about our topics today. So please join me on stage, our panelists. I would like to invite, we are still missing one panelist with Jack Nguyen. Okay, welcome. You're right in time. So please welcome Jack Nguyen, a regional managing director from Southeast Asia Insider. Please join me on stage. And please welcome Hoàng Thị Minh Ngọc, chef grow officer from Chợ Tốt. Yeah, welcome. And Bùi Quang Tinh Tú, founder of UAN Network, and join us Marty from Revix, CEO of Revix. So, I think we can. All right, great. Right, so to the audience, I think it's a great chance to get to pick the brain of these wonderful people. So we have a QR code here. In case you have any question that you are dying to ask, then don't be shy, okay? Or after this, we'll have a coffee break. You can catch them in a one-on-one discussion. Well, welcome. So our topics today will be about engagement and conversion, how to turn more visitor into our consumer. I would like to look at this topic in three different angles. The first one is about the engagement. So we all know that engagement is very important. However, in fact, businesses may face with various challenges, like customer can have a short attention span, or they have high expectation of the products or the service that they buy, or they have privacy concern, for example. So this one, I would like to kick off with you first, Ngọc. Because I believe that as a chef grow official at Chợ Tốt, you can bring a unique perspective into how challenging it actually is. So I want to ask the first question for you. What is the biggest challenge that Chợ Tốt face when you're trying to improve the engagement?
Okay, so thank you for your question. And at Chợ Tốt, we position ourselves as a platform, a marketplace for life. It means that at every stage of life, since you are a student, then you graduate, and then you may get married and have a family. So at different stages of life, you can find what you need on the platform, from electronics items to a car or a motorbike, or you can switch to buy a house or an apartment, and you can look for some jobs on the side. So it's both advantage and challenge at the same time. It means that we have a lot of data. We've been in the market for more than 10 years and more than thousands of billions of data points. But of course, customers, they don't care about that. They will care more about like what does it mean for them in order to benefit. So at the moment, Chợ Tốt is doing very well in understanding the customer in each single vertical. For example, for property, we know that normally it would take around up to 7 years for a consumer to turn the use case from renting an apartment to actually buy one. And then we will frame their intention from the beginning, since they start browsing the site, look for different properties in different districts, etc. So we're doing very well in each single vertical. But the challenge here is how to connect a persona across the vertical. Then we can know exactly at which stage they are in and how to recommend the suitable product to them. So we're solving it together as a team and with our partners as well. And basically, that's the key challenge we are facing.
Well, I really like the idea of a marketplace for life. Like, for example, imagine you are a student, you can go on Chợ Tốt and you buy a laptop for your study. And after graduation, you can also go there and find a job. And after you get married, you can also get there and you want to settle down, you can go there and find an apartment, right? That's amazing. So a quick survey to the audience. Who already used Chợ Tốt? Anyone? Wow, great, thank you. So for those who don't, the Wi-Fi is free. Well, I work for the advertising industry, by the way. So anyway, the e-commerce definition. With that, I feel like Chợ Tốt is creating your own market. Because, for example, we know that e-commerce is already a red ocean. But with the e-commerce definition, it seems that Chợ Tốt is creating your own blue ocean, your own market, your own community of people using and buying and selling like a recycled product. No, I mean a second-hand product, right? So it seems you are creating your own community, and that is a factor that I think play a key role in the marketing strategy. And fortunately, here we have an expert that, I would like to address the question to you, Anh Tú, as one of those who is currently managing a community of more than 1 million members. So in your opinion, what do you think is the role of community-driven marketing in the overall strategy of consumer engagement? And how do you measure the impact of community-driven marketing? The mic is yours.
Hello, everyone. So currently, I'm running. So basically, just to share a little bit for everyone understand about the community network that I'm managing. So in what you're asking a question, how brand, how the community-driven marketing can be a part of the engagement process of a brand. Right now, what I see in the market is that all the brand, when they think about community, they think of it as channel, at top of funnel, as where they can reach the customer, not where they can they can have a conversation, they can understand. That's not how they see it. And we would like to do things a little bit differently. So when we talk about community, I think there are two types of community. There's the community entertainment community. So like news, like for scandal, for showbiz, or everyone just come in here to look at the news, see what news is going on. There's another type, but the thing with this kind of community have a lot of traction, a lot of user, a lot of engagement. It's crazy, everybody in here. So, but that's exactly the problem. It can provide a lot of view, but it actually have zero value in segmentation. That means because everyone in here, you cannot know who is who, right? So there's the second type of community, which I think would be the future if the brand want to connect with their consumer, with their customer. It's purpose-driven community. So a community for single mom, a community for financial expert, a community for marketer, a community for a specific professional, and with the purpose, that community exists to have a value, a social value. So I think these type of community, they have a very clear segmentation, very clear customer group. And so if the brand, they should stop thinking about the big number, should stop thinking about the community as a way for them to reach, but instead of a way for them to connect, to build their top leadership within that group of community that's relevant to them. They don't need to reach 10 million of people, but maybe they need to reach 100,000 members who actually care about their product, that can have a higher conversion rate, that actually can buy from them. So I think even Chợ Tốt, they have, previously I worked for 3 years in real estate as well. So Chợ Tốt, each of their categories potentially could be a community of their own. For car, for real estate, anything can be a community. So I think back to the engagement, I think if the brand, they have, right now I think it's not possible. I think it's gonna take around at least 5 more years for community-driven marketing, everything to be more mature. Right now it's still a new but rising contest. But as you see, in the last 10 years, the brand gradually, they buy in with the content marketing, right? 10 years ago, nobody cared about content marketing. What's that? But right now, it's a pillar in each of the marketing team. We have content writer, we have content manager, we have social manager in each team. All of the marketing team have them. In the next 10 years, every marketing team gonna have a community manager in their team to manage the brand interaction and conversation and conversion rate in the different group of community. That's synergy with the brand value. So that's what I believe. And you say about how we can measure that. I think just like any trend, gradually there will be platform like Insider later. I think many of the platform will gradually develop and they will incorporate the capacity to track and to measure. And even now, when you go to Facebook, if any of you currently possessing Facebook group, and you go to the dashboard, you see that it's even more complicated than a fan page. So many feature, module, function, API, and everything, and report, very detailed. So Facebook already invest a lot. So I ask the question, if Facebook do not have group, would you still be in Facebook? Most of you would leave. Because Facebook group is the thing that actually make me go back right now. So I think that's it. And right now we also see all the platforms supporting it, like Telegram, they're supporting building community. They actually have like a forum in there. I have several Telegram group with 3,000, 4,000, 1,000 members in there. And Viber, Discord, right? So we already see the platform adopting it. So yeah, I think that's my answer to you, and hope it's helpful for everybody.
Thank you. We can't agree more. Because we really share that viewpoint because at MGID, as a global advertising platform, since our day one enter Vietnam market, we are like a stranger to the local market, which is already very competitive. And what we do is we leverage the strength, the power of the community, where we create a community of advertisers and publishers. And actually, we have a team to monitor every comment in that community. And from that, we take a lot of insight to improve our products. In fact, from the pain point that we collect from our advertiser, we did know that they need, besides the banner, they need a more like engaging ad format that can help user to interact and to engage more with the creative file. And that is why we create a new ad format which we call rich media. This is where the user can touch, they can drag, they can spin, they can play a video or even play a game inside the ad creative. And that's amazing. And the great thing about that is we can even measure the statistic of the engagement, like how the ETR rate are, how they engage with the ad. And from that data, we can even understand more about the user and improve the engagement. So here I want to come to the second angle where we want to look deeper into the role of data. And this is where I want to address the question to Jack. But before that, congratulations. I heard that recently Insider was named as the leader in 2023 Gartner Magic Quadrant, right? For the 3rd year. That's amazing. Congrats.
Thank you.
So looking back to the data, we all know that data is very important to understand the audience and to get them engaged more and turn them into our consumer. However, it's quite confusing. What data is important to collect and how marketer can use data to segment their user and to create a personalized experience and relevant experience for them.
Thank you very much. Very long questions. So hi guys, a lot of familiar faces. Great to see many of you, and we are very honored to be the first sessions. So big clap for MMA and all of the sponsors, please. And thank for you guys for being here as well. Let's warm up the rooms a little bit. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for the host. So I think many of you may not know Insider, but I think we are touching your life in a way to indirectly answer the questions. So I'm sure you're flying Vietnam Airlines and Bamboo, right? Most of you. So whatever that you see on the website or the applications, I mean the banners, the commercial things that you see there, or any communication in the form of email, SMS, and Viber and things are actually done by insider. So if you receive things or you see things, likely that is coming from here. I'm sure you do the ride-hailing, the B applications, right? You have the B on your phone, so same. What you get, the promotion, the offer is not the same for everyone. It's based on the trip, the route. Are you the morning person? Are you traveling to airport? It's actually with a very deep segmentations coming from us. So I just want to humanize it so you know what's the outcome. You are receiving it already from this company. So now, back to your questions. Rather than sharing how to do it, I think most of you here should know why you should do it first. So let's say a website standard for retail conversion rate, the buying ratio is normally 1.5% to 2 on average, depending on the vertical. But for phone, consumer electronics, it could really be 1.5 to 2%. Assuming the good assortment, big products, good price, still about 1.5 to 2 to 2.5. And that's the average. Means there is a lot of bottom companies or medium companies. The buying rate is 0.5 to 0.7%. So this is the current benchmark, and it still holds true. You're from advertising, so bounce rate could easily be about 60%, right? That people come, they see one pages, then they bounce. So let's do the math. If you spend about $1 million of marketing budget per year, if you break it down, divide on your new traffic or new app download CPI that you get, just calculate the dollars, and then 60% is gone, right? So put it simply, why we should talk about this panel is because of that. Second, there is no role and responsibility in any companies right now to do engagement optimizations and conversion rate optimization as a specialist. It's being shared between the product team, and Ruby knows really well, together with the e-com manager. They put everything of e-commerce under e-com manager, even though it's sometimes not related to their skill. So, but if you go to LinkedIn and you search in US, you search in Australia, you search in any mature technology adoption market, you'll find title like growth officer or growth hack officer, conversion rate optimizations, not specialists, even the whole team. Everything that they do every day is just to optimize buying rate and engagement. There's no such role and titles in Vietnam. If you go to Thailand, the same thing. So this is a new career, it's a new job of appreciate the problems and really solved it. Right now, it's not under anyone's right now at this point. So to your questions, most of us here buying things from offline. So let's mimic the offline. If you go to offline store, you want to buy a shirt, what do? You go in, you try to find the color that you like, right? You try to find the text, the pattern that you like, and then you try to look for the price. Then you don't buy. You go on Shopee first. You check the price. Is that better online? Is that better on Shopee? Is better? Buy the store. Then it becomes like the omni-channel drama, right? So let's mimic this one. If the store, do you have 1 million of salesmen to handle 1 million people to the store? You don't. You have like 10 to 20 salesmen in the store. Digital platform, a normal website these days retail, you do 500,000 of traffic, of user. And in digital, you can literally have 1 million salesmen to serve each of the users separately. So what data to track? Traffic source, where you come from. Because that explains your purpose of buying. If you come from paid ads, you are mid to bottom funnel. If you're more from organic search and from social, maybe you're top funnel, things like that. Second, locations, makes a lot of difference for retail. Second, in the mid funnel part, at the Insider, we track every single product page view click, the size, the color, the pattern, everything that you choose and click. Do you zoom the images or you don't zoom? Do you scroll to read the product descriptions? It's on show the way that you gonna make the decisions. Then you go to the cart page. This is similar to when you go to the counter in the offline. Then some leave the counter, some add more things to the counter, right? In the counter, in the offline, they only have something. So same, in your cart, we know your cart values. And most of the e-com would give you free shipping if your cart is above certain limit. And how about if you buy more and you 2 times the size of the cart and you get more? So traditionally, to do this is really hard because to track those in millisecond, to segment in millisecond, and to return the experience in milliseconds, so your eyes see that as a normal experience is so hard. The largest applications we process right now is 120 million users per month and about 30 million users per day. And you can imagine each of that 30 millions, they may see something different. So that's how, yes, we can build in-house. Yes, we can use certain tool here and there, but on scale, it's really hard to deliver those. So yeah, I think those are the data that are being tracked and the segment that are normally being used.
Yeah, thank you. You know what, from your sharing, I have a kind of bizarre association between the role of data and the role of a shell app, an app. For example, it's like an app with a shell can protect the content inside. And the data is a weapon, a foundation where we can use to protect the customer relationship. We got the data about them. We can create a 360-degree profile of the customer. And we use that to enrich our relationship with the consumer, right? By the way, it's a little bit off the brief, but do you want to know something interesting about an egg? Like, if you put an egg in one hand and you squeeze it as hard as you can, it will never break. Yeah. No, it's not true. By the way, come back to the brief. Based on the statistic that I got, the CDP market size in terms of revenue already reached, 4.8 billion in 2022. And it seems to hit even 19.7 billion in 2027. So looking at the number, we can see that it's a promising market. An increasing trend are people now realizing more and more the importance of data. However, we can see that the consumer buying decision, it based a lot on emotion. Basically, most of the time, they are emotionally driven. And this is where I think that that Marty, you can add your inputs here, that usually data is just about number. Data is rational. So if just looking at the data seems doesn't help because they are just about number, right? So how do you think that data can be used to impact the customer purchasing decision?
Thank you, Tran. And good morning, Ho Chi Minh City. Thanks for having us. It's a great turnout. Also very briefly, for the ones that don't know Revex, we are a mobile advertising platform. We're a technology company. We have a booth in the main hall, so if you want to know more about us, please visit us later. And I want to give some context as well where we fit into the picture now that I think Jack has elaborated very well on data and what's actually happening within large enterprise customers and how basically we plug and play there. So while I think Insider is working more on the client side in terms of like making things happen on the online experience, what is the store with the 1 million or more even sales processes that are happening there, we are taking care of the communication through advertising. So we ensure that the messages that advertisers want to put out are being put out in the right way, at the right time, in the right format, etc. So this is a very simplified explanation, and it's happening through advertising. So we see in-app advertising every day on our phones in different types of apps. No? So the reach that we have is very large, but that doesn't solve necessarily the challenge, as also Bui explained, like just having exposure alone doesn't make so much sense. You have to have segmentation as well, no? So that you can do targeted advertising. Targeted advertising, and this is something that we solve through data. Where does this data come from and who owns it? It's owned by the first party. The first party is the advertiser. So me as a consumer, I'm engaging with an advertiser, and hence I'm registering, I'm doing things there like going through the page. That's when the advertiser and then, for example, Insider collects this data and makes it actionable. We, as a mobile advertising platform, we get integrated and use this data basically for advertising on behalf of the advertiser only. So we are allowed then to customize the messaging, making sure there's an impact in terms of relevancy, there's an impact in terms of how a brand is being perceived, so experience, etc., which ties in more into your question. It's not just about data points, or you mentioned CDPs are booming. Well, sort of, yes, but most of the time they're just collecting data, and this data is stalling in the warehouse, and it's not becoming actionable. So that's a big problem, basically. You don't want to just accumulate data. And also the time value of data is decreasing very fast. If you don't action data within, let's say, the first week or first month, I mean, it might be much less valuable after 30 days, for example. Yeah? So you need to decide what you want to do with it, and you need to decide it very quickly. When it comes to experience, I think marketing hasn't changed so much in its core throughout whenever it started, because what we're all looking for is an aha moment. It's like, I'm seeing something, I'm getting impressed, it's maybe unexpected, I like it, I engage, basically. So when we look at campaigns, and I don't know who else is in the pre-screening or in the jury for MMA Smarties, when I see the entries, for example, and I see a really great campaign, there's always a creation of this aha moment with something that really goes into creation. So it's not just exposure of ads, it's really creation. And then this creation is being put out in a nice way. Mostly it's video format, it's interactive, it's very engaging. And then when this door has opened, it's being followed up with other ad formats that are reminders of that experience, so that we can basically drive people towards the right direction. Was me, the right direction. Was me again. In terms of whatever the conversion funnel is for an advertiser. I mean, advertisers are businesses. We want to drive people towards a conversion point, entice them to purchase something with us. And this can be done very nicely through advertising and very different formats that are there available, from video. We talked about rich media as well, getting people engaged that they can do something on the advertisement, also track what they like about it, where are they moving on the ad, up to banner native and so on and so on. So we support all of this, and it's a great challenge, and it's great working with advertisers and helping them to understand how they can use their data better.
Yeah, great, thank you. So great creative is also a good source, and we can combining with the data control inside our company. Here we have a very good case study from Chetot. You know what, Ngọc? What I really admire about your company is you take data as a key strategy in your business. As I know, we can look from it like in 3 aspects. You have technology to store the data. You have the technology to clean the data, for example. And secondly, you have a staff. As I know, you have a staff who is well trained with data skill set. Even every team member in the business department, they can familiar with SQL, they can query the data, they can create a data studio, right? So that's amazing. But I think that the most important thing is you have a very clear strategy, which is not only data-driven approach, but it's also a data-informed, which is very new to me. Can you share more about that? What is the difference between the two, and how can you use it to make your user engage more on your platform? Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for, that acknowledging about the data literacy of Chetot. So just a little moment of flexing about the data competency. I mean that at Chetot, every single person, including marketing or branding specialists, they should know how to run the SQL queries in order to check on and work on the data themselves. And then back to the question, yeah, so years ago, we at Chetot, we are more about data-driven approach. It means that, for example, when we do ABCD testing, if the data show that one option will win with the most prominent results with the success metrics, we will go with that. But time passed by, and years later on, when we have enough data, the big data, and then we realize that data will be a very critical element in order to make decisions, but it's not all. And then we need to involve the user insights and market insights together to make good and comprehensive decision. So let me give you a simple example back to Matthew just sharing about the aha moment. So from the data that we analyze, I mean that the disadvantage of Chetot is when you buy cars or when you buy property, actually the transaction is not online. It happens offline. And then you need to do the proxy metrics. How can you predict that after an intensity of clicks and ad views and making leads, then that person is likely to have an offline appointment? Yeah, so for example, electronics, when we run the data and the correlation with retention, we find that, okay, the aha moment metric here is if every new user, when they go to Chetot and then they make, let's say, 4 leads within 1 week, they will discover the aha moment. That's what the metric shows. But the data don't show us like, why is it so? Well, what's the meaning of 4 leads in a week? And we need to talk more to users. And then it will turn out that maybe because actually the search and filter is not good enough. That's why the user needs to search for so many items and navigate through many lists. Yes, and then we drill down more, and then we realize that there are different root cause, there are different problems that we need to solve in order to really deliver that aha moment. And then that can come back to, for example, the trust issue. What if they browse too many used phones, and then they're afraid that that can be a, how to say, a fake phone, or just a phone that they repair, and then it's not as good as what promoted on the site. So then once we understand the user insight, we can go together with product team and other teams in order to solve the root cause and actually increase the engagement. Another interesting example is when we launched Việc làm tốt, a blue collar job platform 2 years ago. So in the team, we debate a lot, like, okay, so with the UI and the UX and the color of the website, of the domain, Việc làm tốt, should we keep it the yellow color like chợ tốt? Should we switch it to another color, orange or blue, in order to make it different? And then the team carry out A/B testing version. Then we track, for example, if the conversion from views or clicks to leads will be higher, or with the time spent on the blue version will be higher than the yellow version, etc., etc. But then combining with the data, and then we decide to talk to recruiters and job seekers, and we realize that there are many interesting insights that help us make the decision. So actually the job seekers, they will tell us that to them, the yellow color associate too much with the market identity in our brand name about the chợ element. And then it means everything, no specialization. And meanwhile, they will perceive that the blue could be more mature, more professional, and help them feel that there's a peace of mind that there's no such like MLM job on the site. Yeah, so that's what we call the user insight. And then it's come to the last insight. It means that the intuition and the market insight. Because if, for example, if we choose the blue based on the A/B test, then we also need to see that if we choose the blue color, it can be quite similar to other platform of jobs. Yeah, and we cannot differentiate. So then we need to combine what we really want in the business goal in order to make the decision. That's why data is only used to inform, but it doesn't mean all.
Here, I think we already have a key takeaway from your sharing, that trying to find the root cause is very important. That reminds me of a famous quote by, actually it's by Albert Einstein, that if he had 1 hour to solve a problem, then he will spend 55 minutes to think about the problem, and the rest 5 minutes to think about the solution. It means that when we already understand about the problem, then it's much easier to find the solution. Well, having a lot of data is great, understand the user is great. However, as a consumer, we may find it's a bit scary, right? Technology company knows too much about us, right? Furthermore than that, we know that with the limited access to the third-party cookie, it seems that first-party cookie will getting more and more importance, right? So this one I want to come back to you, Marty. How Revix can use first-party cookie, first-party data to leverage to get the user engaged more. But by the way, based on the data that I get from MMA, it said that you can speak naturally 3 or 4 languages, right? So you want to keep our conversation in French or
probabilistic
English?
measurement or a deterministic measurement?
So we can keep the conversation in the coffee break in different languages, right?
Bien sûr.
Okay, so please go ahead with the first-party data question.
Thank you. Yeah, so the first-party data question is very important. And then, so when it comes to cookies or device IDs, it just depends whether you work on web or on app. Revix is specialized on in-app, so we are personally not so concerned about cookie deprecation. But it has the same, the idea is the same. It's about limiting access of data to the right parties who have a right to own it, given through consent by the user. So that's all the same thing. When you think about device IDs or what Apple did with the roll of iOS 14.5, which is an opt-in or an opt-out of the device ID. So they didn't deprecate the device ID, they just said like power to the user, make sure that you ask in the very beginning whether the user wants to share the device ID. And then, I mean, there are a lot of other first-party data points. I mean, when we, let's talk about mobile devices, because that's in a way is more important here in APAC. When we use a mobile device, we emit a lot of data all the time. And most of it we emit it voluntarily. Yeah, so it's not just about opting in for the device ID on Apple, it's just like everything we do. We switch on ride-hailing, there's geo-tracking. Yeah? We emit our IP address from home, from here, from anywhere where we are. Yeah? We give information like device model and so on and so on. Many of these data points that are being emitted voluntarily are needed for services as well. So there's a compromise between what I want to share because I get something back, and something that maybe I don't necessarily want to share, right? And this is an imperfect balance. So the idea of that is value exchange. I'm giving data and I'm getting something back. When I fill out a form of something because I want to maybe be part of a lottery or something like this, you know, I give this data voluntarily, and later on I get advertising. I don't win the car, but I get a lot of advertising. Yeah? So, I mean, that's what it is. That's always been there to some extent. And I think the mobile device just makes this data exchange very omnipresent and very intense. And this is something we need to be careful about. When we think about advertising now, maybe coming back to a platform like Gravex or Insider, I mean, we need to, so the user needs to give consent to the advertiser who collects the first-party data. We are then allowed to use this first-party data. And of course, we try to do this very respectfully. Yeah? I think when we think about users, I'm a user as well, right? I think advertising is relatively harmless because what advertising wants to do is to sell goods and services. Yeah, and if we do this meaningfully, then there's a benefit because I get informed as a user. And then there are other, I think, other ways of data usage that are not very kosher and that need to be gated. And so that's why first-party data control is extremely important. And I mean, it starts with the information on the opt-in of the user to know where is my data being used and do I want this or do I not want this? Yeah.
You raise a very interesting point. Actually, we still have a very important part left, which is the best practice and some common mistake. But I already received some signal that we already run out of time. So it'll be
I heard
great.
the music going up as well. They're like, so
Yeah, she's touching at me. So by the way, I think that we still have a chance because after this, we're going to have a coffee break. So don't miss the chance to get more about of these panelists. We can touch them in a one-on-one discussion and ask more with these amazing panelists. So thank you for joining the discussion today. Thank you.
Thank you, our panelists and moderator, and please stay on the stage. I would like to invite to the stage Ms. Phan Bích Tâm.